And one thing I told him, I go, the reason is, coach, is because I changed my environment.
Wow.
I said, when I changed my environment, everything changed for me. So I'm a big fan of changing your environment.
All right. Note number one. How many of you got it?
Change your environment.
Take your note. This is the Closing Day podcast. Are we ready to go? I've got a big guest. Okay. If you talk about buyers, if you talk about sellers, you talk about listings and investments, this is one of the guys you want to know, a force to be reckoned with in the real estate industry. In fact, he's got a name and maybe you know it, the listing boss.
Woo!
How cool is that? I wish that was my name. It's Haas Pratt here on the Closing Day podcast.
Man, thanks for having me. Hello, Buck and Allie.
Man, I got to tell you,
Hi,
there's been a lot of excitement that you're going to be joining because whenever you speak, there's always nuggets of knowledge. And so everyone, I want to make sure that this is the number one thing everyone's doing tonight. Get one of these and wear out those pens, wear out that pen. There we go. Everybody's got it ready to roll. So I know Allie has been burning. I got so many questions. I got to ask Haas what's going on, but I want to just kick off with a little bit about your background, a little bit of like, I was talking to somebody earlier today and she was like, I never, when I was 8 years old, I never thought I want to be a real estate agent. You're always like an astronaut or fireman or, nobody ever says real estate. When did it smack you across the face that like real estate was going to be the thing that created the future for you?
Growing up, my whole life, I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
The problem with that is I barely made it through high school.
Oh,
didn't go to college,
Okay.
So like the doctor thing wasn't for me. It really, and my dad, I remember one time my dad said, I wanted to be a doctor and I always wanted to be a doctor. And he goes, oh, Haas, that requires like 10 more years of school. He goes, you should just start a lawn service. And I was like probably 12 or 13 years old at the time.
Yeah.
It's funny. I ended up starting a lawn service in high school. So
nice.
You gotta be careful what you speak into your children. They will go do it.
Exactly. They will. Yeah.
They will for sure.
How was that lawn service? Did you create a lot of success?
Yeah. I was mowing 100 lawns my first year. I was making six figures as a teenager.
Wow.
And I didn't go to college. I just got straight into as an entrepreneur building my business.
So you were in real estate to some degree, just on the landscape side of real estate.
Right. That's right. And I grew up in Missouri, so I grew up in the country.
Oh, I just assumed you were in Texas your entire life.
No, I moved to Texas when I was 19.
Okay, what brought you to Texas?
Jimbo, my mentor at the time, was a millionaire, and he lived out there in the area where I lived, and he took me under his wing. He gave me several pieces of advice. And he said, Haas, if you want to make $1 million a year, then you need to move. I'm like, where do I move? He said, you need to move to Texas. I said, Why Texas? He said, you belong in Dallas, Texas. And I really never traveled. So like he took me on my first airplane ride. We went to Texas, drove around. This was in August. He goes, you want to move? I said, I'm moving. He goes, when? He said, set the date. And I said, November 15th, I'm moving. So I called my brother, Brad. I said, Brad, I'm moving to Texas. You can have first right of refusal at buying Pratt lawns, but I'm gone. And my brother ended up buying Pratt lawns, took it, still in business today after over 25 years.
Wow.
I love that. That's amazing.
Story. I don't know if you know this or not, Haas. I think we've maybe talked about it before, but we are in Arizona. Now, obviously, our family travels a lot. Allie's got team members in over 10 states right now. The state of Texas has been calling us for years. And so we are planning a January 2023 move into the great state of Texas. I passed my first preliminary test for my license in Texas. I got 180 hours. I'm 60 hours in, and I got a little bit more to go, but dude, I feel like I'm on track to hit it big in Texas,
It was the single best decision I've ever made in my life, was moving. I was at my brother's wedding this weekend, and my football coach came up to me and he goes, Haas, I just want to congratulate you, man. I'm so proud of you. And he goes, I didn't know which way you're going to go in high school, but you ended up turning everything around. Cause the odds were stacked against me.
Yeah.
And one thing I told him, I go, the reason is, coach, is because I changed my environment.
Wow.
I said, when I changed my environment, everything changed for me. So I'm a big fan of changing your environment.
All right. Note number one. How many of you got it?
Change your environment.
Take your note. Take your note. That's the first nugget. So let's go into real estate really quickly. I know you've got some accomplishments. Obviously, you got a big team at EXP, and you got that book that I see sitting back on the shelf that's helped so many real estate agents change the way. There it is, Listing Boss. If you don't have it, where should they go, by the way? If somebody's like, I didn't know he had a book, where do I get it?
Yeah, you can get it at listingbossbook.com.
Okay.
Just pay shipping and handling. I'll send it to you, or you can get it on Amazon as well.
Easy. Listingbossbook.com. Grab that from Haas. What was it? What was the inspiration? What was the thing in your career that made you say, hey, I need to write this book because more people need to know this? Because
the book was in me. I looked at all the real estate training at the time, and I didn't really feel like it was amazing. I didn't think it was great. I thought I could do it better. And so what I did is I wrote it, put it together. But before I even wrote the book, I wrote sales training and courses, and I would give agents the models to go follow.
Wow.
And the book came later, but it's a bestseller, and Skillionaire is coming next. That's my next book.
What's the date? Do we have a date?
6 months.
Wow. 6 months working on this thing.
Looking forward to that.
What's that one going to be about?
You got to become a skillionaire before you become a millionaire.
Wow.
You see, I'm passionate about this. When I help people get in their business and their life, I want them to have success that has roots, like a bamboo tree. It takes 5 years to grow a bamboo tree, because after 5 years, it pops up over the ground. You see it, it grows, it just skyrockets like 20 feet in like a day or something.
Right.
And I look at success like that. Like, you got to grow roots. Those roots are what people can't take away from you. And it's about skills and ascending your skills and mastering those skills. And when you master those skills, I just got to tell people, I got to teach people what I've already done,
Right. What would you say, whether you're a new agent or an experienced agent, what is the skill? You don't have to give the book away, because I know you're probably writing it, but what is that one skill that you think is the most important? If you don't have this, you just won't make it in the real estate industry. Is there one that could be the champion bigger than any other?
People skills.
That's it. Communication.
Yeah. How to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
That's it. So from that, you can develop the sales skill, the marketing skill, even the mindset is a skill. You got to be able to relate to people. You got to understand how people operate. And Dale Carnegie wrote that book, and I worked on a dairy farm and when I was young, and that's actually what Dale Carnegie did. He grew up like 30 minutes from me, working on a dairy farm, moved to New York. And, so I'm a big fan of Dale Carnegie, but it's how to win friends and influence people, man. That's what everybody needs to do. You could read that book every year, multiple times, and it would serve you well.
Well, before we get into questions, I know Allie's itching to ask some real estate questions. I'm curious, just, getting to know Haas Pratt. If you're just joining us now, he is the listing boss. He's got his book, listingbossbook.com. I'm curious, when was it in your career where you hit that milestone, you hit that pinnacle, and you were like, shoot, like, I figured it out? Like, when was that explosive moment? How big is your team right now, by the way? How big is this EXP team you got?
Right around 1,400.
1,400. I mean, this is, guys, we're talking to somebody who's really done this right, grown something, and and used his experience and skill to truly build something unique. And really, I think what Haas would probably agree with is change people's lives. Like, you've put that opportunity in front of that many people, right?
That's right.
So what was that moment where you knew you had something and you were like, I'm going all in on this? Like, when did it click?
Two things. The first thing in real estate, when I first got into real estate, I didn't sell a single house my first 6 months. And I was working 80 hours a week, and I spent $50,000 just failing. And like, I was at a point where I was about to move back to Missouri.
Right.
And I called Jimbo. Actually, I called my dad first. Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about moving back. This ain't working out. This is tougher than I thought. Dad's like, come on back. We'd love to have you,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And
then I called Jimbo after, and I said, Jimbo, I'm thinking about moving back, man. This market's tough. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And so I was belly aching, and Jimbo says, are you done? I was like, yeah, I'm done. He goes, Haas, if you move back, it'll be the biggest effing mistake you've ever made in your life.
Wow.
If you move back, you're going to be the laughing stock of the town and you're going to be a joke. Wow. And he said, if you move back, it's going to be a regret forever. And he hung up the phone.
Wow.
On me. And in that moment, I decided I'm never moving back.
That's a swift kick in the pants.
You have to decide, y'all. You have to make that decision. You have to burn the boats. And in that moment, I burnt the boats. I said, I better figure this thing out. And so I took my first listing that next day. I started calling for sale by owners.
Wow.
The next day I took my second listing. My third day, I took my third. 30 days later, I had 30 listings. I finished that first year doing close to 8 million in sales.
Wow.
And all of it came from the second part of my first year.
Wow.
Here's the distinction, y'all, because you don't have to wait for results. No matter where you are right now, you may be at a place and it feels like results are a long ways away. You can get results tomorrow and just know that, but you have to change what you're doing and change and pivot fast.
Celebrate the little wins.
Yes.
Yep.
Dude, that's great advice, Haas.
So let's go back to both skill and the winning with calling FSBOs. You said you're starting off, you called some for sale by owners. Those were your first couple listings.
I knew when he said FSBO, your ears were going to perk up. So many
I love FSBOs.
People keep talking about it,
So, and that's kind of, when regarding your book and just your name, Haas is the listing boss. He's made a name for himself calling for sale by owner and expired listings. So whether it's a new agent or a veteran agent who's been in the business for decades, but maybe they're just not great at cold calling. They don't know how to do it. What would be, let's say your top, or maybe your top 3 pieces of advice that you would give to somebody to say, here's how you step out your comfort zone. Here's how you do it. Here's what you should say. Here's how you overcome those objections, especially for FSBOs, because their main objection is, I want to save money. I don't want to list with a realtor because it's saving me money.
Yeah. First thing is stop calling it cold calling. When people say cold calling, it gives them permission not to make a call. I don't look at FSBOs or expireds like it's cold calling. I look at it like it's warm, hot, smoking hot, sizzling calling.
Yeah.
Because 100% of that niche want to sell their home. There's riches and niches, and the nichier the niche, the richer the rich. I want to be able to go after niches that already said, I want to sell. Because then, and y'all know this, Buck, in marketing and stuff, it's like half the number one thing in marketing is to identify who the people want to sell.
That's right.
And that costs money. So then, and with the niche like FSBOs and expireds, you don't have to do that. So you don't have to figure it out. And that's why I love it. I think FSBOs and expireds are the fastest ways to put signs in the ground. And for any agent.
That's so interesting to hear you say this, but I've never heard anyone say that before, but cold calling is a mental game. You're putting yourself behind the 8 ball before you ever even make the call by classifying a persona as somebody who may not be warm. And that's so interesting. That's us labeling incorrectly a persona on the FSBO side and the expired listing side. That's such a great tip. So interesting how that works. Speaking of agents and other markets and competitiveness, in Texas specifically, it's the fastest growing state right now in real estate. Lots of states are growing rapidly, some more than others. Houston and Dallas competing for which market is going to be the fastest growing each month. But when you see that, you also see the number of real estate agents increasing as well. But if you look at the data says it's less than 10% of the market that actually converts. So even though there's more and more and more, a sea of, we're going to use this word. We talk about this at almost every podcast, the Instagram agent, the one that looks like he or she's doing everything, but they're not doing anything. This is your competition, right? So what's the advice in a fast growing real estate market? Interest rates are going up, things are shifting and changing. More and more people think now is the time to be an agent. What's the advice to agents to stand out, get ahead, and get more listings?
The number one thing is right now, would you all agree that, close to, or about a month and a half over it, but it's the greatest time in the history of real estate to sell a house.
Absolutely.
Today, people have more equity in their house than they ever have before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's changing. So we get the peak and it's going this way now.
Yep.
So what you need to do is you need to have conversations with potential sellers, and you need to be communicating that interest rates are going up. There's a window right now for a seller to take action. In fact, the top of the market, I think, is about a month and a half ago.
Really,
the first time, like if you look on Zillow, you can see the red. You see the price reductions for the first time in years.
Yeah,
in most markets. So like you want to create urgency.
Mm-hmm.
And to create urgency, you want to use like current events. And there's always ways to create urgency, but there's definitely urgency now in the marketplace because sellers need to take action. If they want to sell in the next 2 years, they need to do it now.
Mm.
So I'm going to go after a niche, and I'm going to communicate that with passion. And I'm going to convince them to list the property. And you don't want to miss that window. It's right now.
Right. With inventory already coming back up. I was on a webinar yesterday, and just here in the Phoenix market, we're seeing double the inventory now this month than we saw, I believe, January of last year. And with interest rates now at 5+% nationally. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Buyers are going to put a stop to buying pretty soon.
Right. So
actually, I want to also clarify this. You're not affected by the market. You're not affected by the economy. You're affected how you react to the market.
Exactly.
How you react to the economy. And understand that, like, your success is 100% up to you. It is not up to the interest rates. It is not up to the sellers. It is you. So that's another thing that people will do. If they think, oh, well, interest rates are going up, why am I even going to try? Like, they fail before they even start. So like, you got to own your success. And I don't care if the interest rates are 25%. I'm going to sell houses. Your strategy may change, your niche may change in your method, but like, you got to go get your listings, like, it doesn't matter what the market's doing. And that's just true, for everything. That's true. Here's the other thing I want to add to that is, I talked to somebody today and they said, well, I don't want to go after FSBOs, Haas. I know you like those. And he said, everybody goes after them. And when I hear that, like, everybody goes after them, don't worry about what other real estate agents do. Don't put your weight into your decisions on if another agent's going to be going after them. The reality is they don't have systems in place. So what they do is they'll go after them for maybe a week, but after the week, everybody falls off. Test me on this. The first week, here's what you're like the 100th realtor to call me. But after a week, you're the only one that's in contact with them. So that's the key. Is you want to be consistent and you want to have a system that you follow. So like, you're in touch with them, but I mean, there's no competition after that first week. Don't expect real estate agents to actually do the work. You know what I mean? Most of them will do it for a day and that's it.
So I want to go back, Haas, to something you said that spoke to me. Use urgency in current events. And so when you say something like that, my curiosity, like I've been in marketing for over 25 years, worked with big brands. And now I'm moving into this real estate space because, one, I believe in it. Two, I don't want to be a marketer who just holistically talks about targeting, marketing, automation, systems, process, CRM. I want to actually live and breathe the real estate. I'm going niche on that vertical. And so I want to be an agent so I know what every agent goes through. And so if I am a new agent, is now a good time to be an agent? Or if you see the market going down, is it like, are you one of those believers that, like, no matter how horrible the market is, there's always an opportunity for the high performers to succeed? There's
always an opportunity. I don't care what the market's doing. Like when I moved to Texas, I was a door-to-door salesman, and I would go door to door. And how it would work is let's say, okay, today I'm on the west side of Beltline. I'm going from this to here. You would have your territory. And I remember, like, this is where I learned this the first time is you could somebody could go on in a territory a day before me. And most people are like, oh, the market, it's already been hit. And I would go on the same territory somebody else went the day before and get the same results because I would open different doors. And that's another example is no matter how beat up a market is, or you can create opportunity out of thin air. And that's what I learned. You can create out of thin air. If it doesn't exist, you make it exist.
Wow.
That's what I love about marketing is and here's another thing with marketing. is when people hear marketing, Buck, you know this, like, what does that mean?
Right.
There's so much to marketing,
Right.
from branding to direct response, all of the idea that people have. But in real estate, we're in the getting the phone to ring business.
Mm-hmm.
So what in marketing and real estate, I look at it like this: solutions. So solutions, because the key to conversion with sellers is providing solutions to their pain.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care that you have your GRI, your CRS, your ABR. You've been in real estate for 37 years. They don't care about any of that. Like, I was in my early 20s taking a listing every day. Why? Because I would find the pain with the seller. I'd find the pain, and then I would provide solutions.
Yep.
The solutions didn't exist. So I created the certified pre-owned home program. By driving by a car dealership and seeing it, my light bulb goes off. I'm like, that makes sense. So when I was going after expireds, I'm like, why did the property not sell? And they give me a reason. I'm like, because the home wasn't certified. Or my 89-point marketing plan where I sell homes fast for the most amount of money. So I would create solutions that I can communicate. If you take those solutions away, it's about me.
Right.
And so, like, where people struggle with prospecting or selling is it feels sleazy to some people because they're not solution based. So when you can create solutions to the pain, it changes everything.
I love that.
And how you find the pain is by asking questions. So if you were to hear me on the phone, I would ask 15 questions to that seller before I even said anything. I really would. I just ask question after question after question. I would ask questions based on their answers. Ask another question based on that answer. I wouldn't stay linear. I go deep, because deep is where the pain lies.
Love it. Such a great note. You mentioned this a little bit earlier, talking about marketing and talking about solving problems, finding pain points. Another, sort of definition of what marketing is getting someone to trust you. And that's how you make conversions, right? And so I hear your solution to that in like a FISBO, like the consistency is how you get them to, because you stayed and nobody else did. So they're like, I trust this person. They didn't give up, right? So it's like trust factor. What other ways do you have for agents to create trust faster, AKA shorten the sales cycle? What types of techniques or tips? And I'm sure that goes back to your point, like you got to be a great communicator and people trust people that have good personalities and things like that. What other sort of tips would you give us to close the sales cycle?
When you ask questions and it gets people to open up. And when you're curious, every call, there would be a moment that it shifts. I feel the energy in what they were saying shift, or their tonality, because I'm, again, people, right? It's the people business. So being genuine and asking questions will help you gain trust. Having solutions will help you gain trust. Being consistent is crucial, and that will help you gain trust.
Love it. Those are great.
And regardless of what the market's doing, you can do all of those things because it's in you. Just like when you wrote your book, it's inside of you. So as long as you're creating the time for yourself, giving the effort, remaining disciplined, getting out there, basically showing up for yourself and your business, you can create those listings or find those buyers regardless of what the market's doing, just like you said.
Yes. Every time.
So I want to open up for questions because we've got a lot of loyal agents that show up every single week. This is sort of an interactive podcast. We used to do a podcast and a closing day call, and then we're like, hey, let's just cram it together, interview interesting people, and then ask questions, It's
called repurposing your time, y'all.
That's exactly what it was too. Because we were like,
you want to repurpose your time.
We were spending hours, doing one show, one Zoom, so we're like, let's get interesting people and people that have success in real estate. So let's use this time. If you've been listening to Haas Pratt, Listing Boss, listingbossbook.com, I want you to be able to get the floor, ask a question, raise a hand, unmute yourself. No question is too small. No question is too complicated. You're talking to somebody with a lot of experience. So you can put it in the chat too. If you're like, you don't want to speak, you have a fear of speaking, which would be weird as a real estate agent, but go ahead. Who's got the first question? Don't be shy. Becky looks like she has a question.
I have a question.
Go for it, Katie.
So Haas, when you were like first starting out and you went out and you got, listings every day for a month, were you following scripts? Were you just kind of winging it? How have you ever practiced scripts? Is that something that you did on a regular basis once you got started? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I follow scripts and everything. You get the script, and then what happened? Like I would have laminated sheets. I would always have a script. It was important that it always fit on one sheet, and I would laminate it, and I would always have that there. And I even like voicemail scripts, and I had scripts for everything. And but eventually those scripts, they get in you. So all of you need to use scripts long enough and say them long enough to where the words are in you. And whenever you get conditioned, this is the key, when you're conditioned to the scripts, that's where things become very powerful, because that's where your energy, your enthusiasm, your confidence comes. So it's going to be uncomfortable until you say those words many times, but words are money. Words are currency. Like I could give you every script today verbatim, just like I did before. Like they're never going to leave me, and that's the key. So like, if you don't have those words in you, then people are oftentimes not going to be picking up the phone. They don't have the confidence.
Love it. Great question, Katie. All right. Who's next? Who's got a question?
I have a question.
Yeah, hit it, Stephen.
So, Hoss, you're an active agent now. I know you do training. You have different modules and this and that. And I actually listened to your FSBO a webinar a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, or a week ago, whatever it was.
Awesome.
Great stuff. I mean, it really was great stuff. You sent me the recording. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're an active agent now as well, or?
I do not sell real estate.
Okay.
I haven't sold real estate for over 10 years.
Right.
I'm full-time coaching and training and speaking. I do have my real estate license now, but for years I didn't after I sold my business. Because what I did is in 2008 and 9, when the market crashed, I had a choice. So I sold my business at that time. And when the market crashed, I had a choice to get back in real estate and start selling, or go travel. I wanted to travel the country and do seminars. That was my why. I was like, I want to travel around the country and I want to do seminars. So that's what I did. And I hit the road for 2 years, and I was on the road 200 days a year, going into real estate brokerages all around the country, doing 2 to 3 seminars a day. I've been in over 650 Keller Williams offices around the country.
Wow.
Right.
Unreal. Great question, Stephen. Appreciate it, man. So Haas, let me put you on the spot real quick.
Oh no.
Put you on the spot. I want to role play. We got about 3 minutes left. I want Allie to be a FSBO.
Oh God.
And I want you to call Allie right now. I want you guys to dialogue this.
I love it, man.
Oh, let's do it. Who wants to hear this? Who wants to hear this? Yeah. Oh, everybody wants to hear
Oh
it.
boy.
I want to hear this. Allie. Okay, ready? Ring, ring.
I should have had a shot before this.
Hi, Allie.
Yes. Hello. Who's this?
Hi, this is Haas Pratt. I'm with eXp Realty. I noticed you're selling your property for sale by owner. And I was curious, are you willing to pay a 3% co-op if I brought you a qualified buyer?
What's a co-op?
3% commission.
I don't know. That's an awful lot of money. I was hoping to sell it by myself and I don't know, see what happens.
But if I had a qualified buyer today and wanted to write a healthy offer, of course, would you not pay 3%?
I think I could do that. I need to talk to my husband and run the numbers.
Okay. Well, Allie, let me ask you this. How's everything going with the marketing of the property? What are you doing to market the property?
Oh, well, I just put it on Zillow.
Perfect. You get any good feedback?
Not really any feedback. We've had a couple showings.
Any offers yet?
No, sir.
How long are you going to try to sell the property on your own before you decide to explore other options?
We figured we might give it a month.
And in that month, let's say you do decide to explore other options. Do you have any close friends or family members that you'd feel obligated to work with, or will you be up for interviewing some aggressive agents?
No, I don't know anybody.
Perfect. Well, so here's what I'm going to do. Since you're willing to pay a 3% co-op, I'm going to put your property in my database of homes where I match the criteria of my buyers or the features of your property. If we have a match, I'm going to let you know. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you some information that'll be helpful to you. Do you mind if I stay in contact with you, stay in touch?
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay. And Allie, my name's Haas Pratt. Again, it's with EXP. If you have any questions, let me know.
All right.
Love it. Boom.
And so
Nice
here's the thing
job.
on that call though, y'all.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to take the listing on that call.
I got you.
I'm qualifying her. I asked her if she's willing to pay a 3% co-op.
And
Yeah.
building
She's-
trust.
Yeah. So if you're not going to pay 3%, then you're not going to pay my commission. I call it halfway home.
Right.
And that's the reason I asked you again. You balked at it at first, and I just asked the same question again, and I got a different answer. And that always happens too, y'all. So you get a different answer. Then how long are you going to try to sell a home on your own? I want to know your time frame. And whatever time frame you gave me, you said a month. I know you're going to list in 2 weeks.
Mm.
So you cut it in half.
Wow.
And that's when they're going to list. It's like clockwork. And then the last question was if you had a close friend or family member that you would feel obligated to work with. I didn't say list with, I said work with.
Right.
Words like list are you want to avoid.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said no. I'm looking for if your mom's in real estate or your best
Right.
friend.
Sure.
Because they're going to go straight to them, right?
Yep. And then I asked if permission to stay in contact with you.
So good. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And so,
agree.
and then the follow-up calls next week. Next week, I'm going to call you. Hey, Allie, did you get the letter I mailed you earlier this week?
Sure
How's
did.
everything going? Have you sold the property yet? And every week it just goes from there until I get them to list. But at some point I know that the opportunity to set the appointment is there after you experience a little pain,
Yeah.
a little uncertainty.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going for. And that's the key to FSBOs. Because you don't want to try to just list it on the first call. You want to build the relationship.
So great.
And I feel like having a conversation like that is better than being hung up on. And so it's going to help build your confidence at the same time.
It's way better. Yeah.
Well,
And
that's
notice
wh-
how many questions I asked too, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
lots of questions.
that is why.
What's the material? I'm sorry. Can I
Go
ask
ahead.
a question?
Go ahead.
What's the
Steve.
material? What's the material you send them in that week? Is it just a brochure? Is it something more extensive? Or
Yeah. Mixed bag. Letters I would mail letters talking about my solutions, my 89-point marketing plan, my easy exit listing, my smart seller program that allows them to sell the property themselves while it's listed with me, and they don't pay a commission if they do.
Awesome.
Comes with a menu of commission rates. So the solutions, right? That's what the message is.
Love
We
it.
need the solutions so we have the messaging.
yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah.
There's two more questions that we're going to go real quick, rapid fire here. But before we do, I do just want to mention, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but Allie really got into character with her Texas accent. Did anybody pick that up?
I'm practicing.
She was like fully entrenched in the Texas market. I didn't know if anybody else got that. Autumn, we'll let you roll. What's your question for Haas?
You're muted,
I
girlfriend.
asked to unmute. There you go.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So I have a couple questions. We have been doing some calls and stuff through RedX, which has been super helpful. And we've just been pulling searches and stuff for sale by owners through there, and then kind of cross-examining them with Zillow, and getting people's information that way. Is
Mhm.
that how you find your for sale by owner leads, or is there another way that you get them?
Yes, if you tell RedX, tell them that I sent you, and that they will hook you up with their best quality data. So you want to so it's their RedX, the pro data. You want to get the best data.
Yeah.
So yes, but you need a service like RedX. RedX is great, and then you do other things like what you're doing to get additional data. But they give, they give enough data though to work with.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Perfect.
awesome. And then my other question was, this is like kind of a team thing that I'm building with my husband, and he's been doing a lot more of the cold calling than I have been doing, and I've been doing a lot of the follow-up with them, and we're trying to like equally touch the same people. But since you're a team with your wife as well, kind of how do you guys govern like who's in charge of what?
Or
Well,
did when you were still selling.
So when I would have, let's say, for example, in that case, like somebody's running the system, somebody's on the phone, somebody's hand addressing the letters, and every letter is hand addressed.
Yeah.
Because we want them. The goal of a letter is to get them to open the letter.
Mhm.
When they open the letter, the goal is to get them to take the next step, the call to action.
Yeah, and we've just been trying to do very little things to set us apart. Like when we bought our mailers and our postcards, they are like big squares instead of normal envelope sizes, and they're also like that like brown cardboard material where I'm just like, it just looks so different from just a normal letter. and it's handwritten that I'm hoping that it's more standout-ish, I guess.
Yeah, and today, the technology and communication is different than when I sold real estate. Like, I mean, it's amazing to me that you could take a list of FSBOs, upload them into Facebook, and set them up, to see targeted ads. It's amazing to me that you can text message it within a campaign. So text messaging is important because it'll help you get more people on the phone. You want to be hitting them from different angles and leverage technology to do that. Even video. I mean, it's amazing to me that I can be in somebody's pocket with a video in seconds.
So
Absolutely.
true. Awesome. Great
Love it.
question, Autumn. I like that. Let's go. Last question, Haas. Would you change anything? This is from Becky. Would you change anything about your approach today if you were still actively selling, given the change in technology? So it sounds like you kind of just answered that, which is, yes, you'd be doing the videos and the text messaging follow up, all of those voicemail drops, everything, right?
Yeah. So today, if I were looking back, I would create a platform. I would do something to create, to ascend my authority, credibility, and like whatever that is, like to something to cut through the clutter. Like I'd probably write a book.
Yeah.
And I have, by the way, I've written a book in real estate that's directed to the consumer because I want those tools to position me as the expert. And today, like it's easier than ever to do it. But I would not change my niches. I would still go after FSBOs, expires. And by the way, y'all, that's not the only thing I teach. That's where I started. That's what I help people with. But there's a lot more that I train and teach. I'm not just the FSBO expire guy. But like I would definitely go after those niches.
Love it. Great. Haas, I really appreciate you taking a little time out tonight to talk to us. If you want to get the book, you need to get the book. It's Listing Boss, listingbossbook.com. Where else should somebody find you if they want to connect with you?
You know what? Go to hosspratt.com. If you go there, there's a free business plan on that page. It's a step-by-step plan. It's will reverse engineer what you need to do in order to accomplish your goals. So if you want to make $500,000 in real estate, it's going to tell you exactly how to do it. You can go there and get that free business plan. And in there's a link where you can, where all the solutions that I offer, from courses, boot camps, and all the success stories of other people. So go check it out, hosspratt.com.
Man, I just got my pen is like dry. I've got so many notes here, burning the boats.
There's
not
a
waiting
lot of
for
notes down
results.
there.
Let's see what else. Don't call it a cold call. Man, I think there's a song in there.
It's a red hot, fiery, blazing call.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's just so many good notes tonight. I know you guys appreciated this too. So if you did, go to the website, go check out Haas's book. I would love for you guys to support him. Haas, hey, when you're ready with that new book, come back. Let's do this podcast and talk about what you're launching, man, because it's exciting to see what you're doing.
Yeah, let us know how we can support.
Absolutely. Appreciate all of you. Y'all keep it up. You got some great leaders here, and go out there and make it happen. Remember this: if you spend a few years of your life living like doing what most people won't, you'll be able to spend the rest of your life living like most people can't. So go do the work.
Boom. Thank you, Haas. Appreciate you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Closing Day call. We'll see you next week.